Google released this blog post where they experiment with Gemini 2.0 Flash, and this is where they talk about, of course, the native image generation. And honestly, I've seen research papers about this kind of stuff before, but this was the first time that I've seen the real use cases and a model that actually do it really effectively. So let me show you why this is so crazy. One of the things they actually have is consistent characters being solved. One of the demos they actually showed us was that Gemini 2.0 Flash can essentially tell a story and illustrate it with pictures. In this example, you can see that there is a goat, and then you can change the goat to be doing different things. Of course, there were different models in which you could do this, but the really impressive thing is that with Gemini 2.0 Flash, the accuracy that these models have is truly impressive. This is the exact same image, and you might be thinking, okay, it can make images that are just slightly good in a story way, but trust me, it gets better. One of the things I wanted to try was to see how good this model was at editing images. So I prompted it to create a picture of Deadpool with white background. White background because I wanted to avoid any kind of mistakes that the AI image model might create. You can see right here that it generated a very simple image of Deadpool. Then I prompted make him fold his hands, and you can see it immediately made Deadpool fold his hands and maintained absolutely everything. If I flip back, you can see that it's the exact same image, and the crazy thing about this is that it doesn't regenerate the entire picture. It only regenerates the part it needs while leaving the rest of the image completely perfect. Now you can see right here that I prompted him to make him stand on one leg, and once again we have a Deadpool actually standing on one leg. I can already think of a million different ways to use this, but there are so many more use cases. And then I prompted make him wear a suit, and it immediately put a suit on him in this amount of detail. This is something that I personally think is super useful because it shows us how things may change once AI editing gets here. The AI was able to do this in around 5 seconds every time, and it managed to maintain the character consistency. Now this is where we talk about the incredible world model of Gemini. You can see right here we talk about giving it a recipe for chocolate chip cookie and asking it to include images for each step. This is crazy because it understands exactly what part of the image should look like and then generate the next image after that. You can see right here that the eggs are being added. And when it says to whisk the ingredients together, you can see exactly what it looks like. Then you can see what the 5th and 6th step looks like. And it looks all incredibly perfect. This is going to be absolutely insane for a variety of different use cases. And you can see that everything looks pretty much perfect. I'm not sure if Photoshop could do a better job than this. Maybe someone out there with better Photoshop skills than me could. But just having it be able to edit an image and generate a recipe with all the different stages visually shown is really fascinating. The world model of the system is really good because it understands the next stages of certain things. For example, if you take a picture of your baking tray or bowl and ask what it's supposed to look like next, it can show you exactly what your bowl is supposed to look like if you're following the next steps correctly. Now another good thing that this model does have is really impressive text rendering. In this demo right here we can see that someone wanted to put an old detailed vintage 35mm photograph from a front view of a vintage computer monitor set, and you can see that the text look very accurate. I don't think that there are many models out there that can actually complete the entire text without some minor mistakes. It seems like Google is probably the only company right now that can accurately do text correctly pretty much 100% of the time. Of course, apart from one or two mistakes. But it is really surprising how accurate this model is. And so overall, this is something that is truly impressive considering the consistency and its capabilities. And so overall, this is something that is truly impressive because it allows for many different use cases now in addition with text rendering. We can also see generate an image of a classroom with the teacher writing the following words on the blackboard. With yellow chalk, we got Gemini Flash native image output before GPT 4.0, and this was something that is kind of throwing shade on OpenAI. as there was this release by OpenAI some time ago, as you can see right here, that we actually had this a year ago from OpenAI. So I don't know why OpenAI didn't release this. Maybe they shifted their compute to something that was more important at that time, but it seems that Google has the compute to do this and they pulled it off pretty effortlessly. Now another thing that this actually allows you to do is switch styles easily. You can have a sketch and then prompt it to make a line art out of the sketch. You can see that someone else said that give it some base color, which was really cool, and then it said add some soft shading. The source of low light is on the left upper corner, and you can see it managed to do that in really accurate way. So overall I think this is very impressive because you can get really creative with this. Like for example, you know that you can add some background, some indoor, and then you can make it monochrome grayscale for some kind of illustration. I mean, think about the use cases here for those of you who are very creative. I think there are going to be tons and tons of different use cases where you can use these to do so many different things. And of course I will say there are some meme capabilities here, because you can see right now that we had this image and someone prompted to make them look more relaxed and happy and have them holding an ice cream and don't change anything else. And you can see that it immediately just used the exact same art style and put two pieces of ice cream in their hands. And honestly, if you were to tell me if this image is changed or not, I would not have been able to guess.